John, there's a new head of recruitment in the building in the form of Ian Torrance. Just tell us a little bit about Ian and why he's the right man for the job.
Look, he over 12 years at Southampton, worked through various roles. A couple of people he worked under, and he spoke very highly of him. He's just come out of Como and helped build their squad for the Serie A this year. He's well respected. He has a really good eye for players. He knows how to work with the data side of it, and the processes are right, and just everything we want from that side of the football club. I think he's well versed in, so he's hungry to get going. He started yesterday and straight into the thick of things going into a summer window.
Clearly Ian isn't the only recent appointment at Stoke City. Gareth has moved into the role of Academy Technical Director. Gareth, just tell us a little bit about what that role entails and what your brief is.
Our primary focus is going to be increasing the pathways for our young players. So obviously that is your Sol, Saliba, Nathan Lowe, Emre Tezgos, Tommy Simpkins, Freddie Anderson while he's out on loan, Lawrence Gianni while he's away with Italy. He's obviously supporting guys at the top end as a part of it. That is then formalising the loan strategy. What does that look like for next year? We've had really good lads out on loan this year, with Tommy and Nathan in particular, but there's been others that have been maybe lower down the sort of pyramid. So how do we formalise that and put a strategy in place? Because that doesn't just click your fingers and happen. You have to put the stepping stones in place. Working with the women's team and Steph and as the performance director, and making sure that we're increasing pathways for girls to play for Stoke City as well, which is going to be a main focus of next season. Been heavily involved in the process from around sort of sports science, medical, staff development, and basically being an extra pair of hands wherever I can offer one. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be sat here, and obviously thankful for John and the owners for the opportunity. And coming in day to day, it's never a job, but ultimately every day is a constant search. How can we be better? And whether that's with the academy, with the girls, with the women, with the loans, with the first team, with staff development, with John and myself, or whatever that looks like, it's a constant drive to be better day in, day out. And that can be in a number of different ways.
There are people in the building like Gaz, been here a long time, different roles in the academy, and they've progressed through. How important is that?
I think it's important to understand like the identity of the football club as well. I think look, going to the season, I don't think we've seen it enough on the pitch. I think we're all aware of that. I think we're aware of that. I think supporters are as well. We need to get that into the pitch. It helps with the backroom staff and the people in the football club knowing what that is. And obviously Mark's come in as a new manager and understands the club, but to give him the real meat and bones of the football club. And I think in recent performances, I think we've probably saw that more. I think we saw it especially in the Coventry game, the Blackburn game at home here. But again, it takes time because he's trying to still instill his identity onto the football team. When he came in, I think probably the first 5 games we had a lot of injuries, which has probably been a bit of a problem this season. But to then go through and improve in different areas, and again we measure everything as part of the football club and in probably a different way than anyone else does, and we know where the sort of club's heading. And I think the Coventry game, Blackburn game were a real indicator of, look, I think we're beginning to get it, and your eyes don't lie on the pitch, you see that, and I think it's understanding that. So to have the staff developing all the way through and have that feed, and again someone like Ryan in the first team coaching department is really important to understand that, and having a new first team coaching setup that has just gelled for the first time. Mark working with Paul and James. It takes time, but I think we're beginning to see that, and it's so important that the fans see that as well on the pitch, because that's our identity. We know what Stoke City is, and we need to get back to being Stoke City, and I don't think we've seen it enough this year, and it's so important that we have that connection, we have that sort of the fans resonate with what they see on the pitch to what they feel is a Stoke City team.
What's the priority for you both now, next month or so?
We know where we're at. There's 8 games left. Priority is getting results on the pitch, full stop. All support to the first team and what we do and how we support them, and that goes from what we can do with players in the background to having players available, fit and ready, having players from the sports science ready to fight, just having everything ready to support Mark and what he needs, and the coaching staff, and trying to feed in little bits of things that can help maybe. But look, we know where we're at. It's not an ideal season. It's far from it. You look, during the season, like me in my position, even Gaz now, there will be mistakes. being made along the way. That's part of learning. You're not going to get everything right, but knowing that it's with the best intentions. But priorities the next 8 games. Priorities QPR on Saturday.
What sort of Stoke City team would you like to build, and what type of team is Mark trying to build, and the building blocks that are being put in place?
We want a team that, first of all, resonates with the area, the fans, the demographic of the football club. That is people that will die for the shirt, will run through a brick wall, and will play fast attacking football. It's not slow ponderous play. It's people on the front foot. It's making things happen. It's wearing the heart on the sleeve. That's what type of player and that's what type of football club we want to have here or get back to. It doesn't happen overnight. I said it when I first came in. We've had 7-8 years here of mediocrity, of championship position we found ourselves in, and I said it doesn't just change like that. There's lots of people in the building that you need to change the mindset of people. It's people throw around culture in this annual. It's a mindset of we need to raise our standards to there. We want to be there, so we need to raise our standards there right across the board and get people to buy into it and tell them a story, and they're a part of it. They're a part of that identity. They're so important to it, and we have to have that mindset. We're one football club, so we need to get that back. And it doesn't. Again, it's 7-8 years of being where we're at. It doesn't happen in 1 year. You're putting those building blocks in that when the time's right, it'll go. But with an owner like John, it will go. And it's getting the people, the right processes in place, the right recruitment team in place, the right coaches in place, the right academy in place, that the facilities we've got over my shoulder. We've got a £12 million building getting built that'll be ready at the end of this year. It's Premier League facilities, everything off the field is in the right place. We just need to get it right on the pitch. And I think in someone like Mark, who's built Coventry up, who's built football clubs, who's seen it and then come here and said, I can't believe what you've got here in terms of the facilities, in terms of the structure of the club and everything. Like, it's not the clubs he's been at. So to have him there and be able to build things how he's seen it done, and where he took Coventry from to where they are now, is a great person to have at helm as well. So I think we've got the right people in the right positions. But again, it's going to take time over windows probably to get to where we need to get to.
Just before the break, a couple of cruel late goals against us in matches, but the performances, what did you take from them going into this final month or so of the campaign?
The Coventry was a phenomenal performance. It was a top of the table performance on all our data points that we measure. That performance and that grit and how we played, we got beaten in the 97th minute goal, but you play like that, we'll be fine. We put that performance in, we put that attitude into a game. We have that Stoke City attitude on the pitch and the way they played and the way they play football and what we did. That's Stoke. But you're right, decisions go against. Let's not moan about know where we're at, and we'll speak to the right people at the right time. But yeah, we put performance in like that, we'll get it right.
This weekend just gone, huge day for the women's first team. They competed in the final against Nottingham Forest. What did you make of the run and the day itself?
It's a hugely competitive game, first and foremost. Yes, we'll be disappointed with the goals conceded, but in terms of balance of play, in terms of chances created, in terms of balance of possession to a point of purposeful possession, we were more than a match for Forest. On the day, obviously you come off as losers, and a final's no place for coming second, is it? We know we don't want to do that. But in terms of how the team's grown, in terms of how they've developed as players and as people, this is a team to be really proud of. And like I say, we took it to the wire against a Forest team that was even more resourced than ours. But like I say, it's the next stage is then how do we build on that? It's a great occasion, put obviously the women's team on the map. The next stage is how do we grow that? And how do we grow the women's team? How do we grow the girls section? How do we create the pathways for girls of Stoke-on-Trent and the boys of Stoke-on-Trent to play for Stoke City? And that's going to be how do we build on that relative success to make sure that we've got a team to be proud of.
Yeah, the girls, the Marine, did the club proud. I think it's an achievement to get to where they've got to this year and what they're doing. And lots of work is going on behind the scenes, and we're trying to improve it year on year. With the women's team, we're trying to more staff, more facilities, better facilities, what we're doing, and a lot of money's gone into Yarnfield, into different bits we're trying to do there to create a home and give everything we can. And again, it's part of the building process. And Gaz has the nail on the head. How do we create a pathway for girls of Stoke City, for Stoke-on-Trent to play for Stoke City, and what can we do to do that? Because ultimately we've got a local owner that loves the club and wants to see that as well. So I think we're going in the right direction with it. We're building year on year, and having Gareth to help out and the real growth of that as well is so important.
So obviously seeing how the boys academy program's grown, even you look at 10 to 15 years ago when the academy system around the EPPP was first introduced. So you said, how do we take some of those learnings, how do we apply that? Because the girls section is probably in a similar sort of situation. There's a lot of appetite to do better, a lot of appetite and want to do well, but you need to put the structure in place, you need to put the processes in place, you need to give time, because you can't all just click your fingers and these things happen. You've got to take time for things to develop. So it's taking some of those learnings that the boys section's gone through, how do we apply to the girls section, how is it different, and where you have to grow it in a slightly different way. But ultimately the thread is going to be, how do we grow the women's and girls game for girls of Stoke-on-Trent to have the opportunity to play for this great club.